Namaste and welcome to another bicycle live stream. It's Sunday, the 25th of August at 7:10 a.m. I've ridden 25 kilometres and it's bumpy here. And this morning's topic is very relevant because there's quite a lot of mainstream news happening now as we have become aware that not only are we getting the mainstream news talking about the climate crisis, but we are now getting a lot of mainstream news relating to the situation with the fires that have been burning for 3 weeks in the Amazon and the environmental damage and the reasons behind why they are happening. And I thought I would give some input in relation to this because it's an opportunity to quote something that John Roger used to say, use everything to your advantage. It's an opportunity to actually make people more aware or to answer their questions, because there's going to be a lot of questions coming up in relation to this topic, and it's an opportunity for us as ambassadors of compassion to create more awareness and to help affect change so that people who are still using animal products can be influenced positively and shown how to easily transition into a cruelty-free lifestyle. So in relation to that also, possibly later this morning, late morning, I may be doing a live stream with a couple of my friends in Brazil, depending on their availability, so that I can hear directly from people living there as to how the situation is being felt and perceived and what they think of the president over there, etc. So that will hopefully be late this morning. They've got work commitments, and if their work commitments finish at a time that works out with me, then they'll be in the middle of today, roughly, that I'll be doing that live stream with them. So as everyone, or most people who know me know, I'm a long-term vegan, 39 years. And good morning, Bellamore. Thank you for watching. And that means I've been running a long race. It means that I have, over the years, experienced many different forms of reactions from people, and that has formed a series of strategies that I have in order to handle certain reactions. And when you're running a long race, you have to be very careful in how you prioritize your energy and where you put your energy, where you put your focus. So the techniques and the strategies that I've used as a long-term vegan can be applied with what we're facing in the future. We're getting a very strong wake-up call, or I should say a lot of the mainstream population that maybe wasn't aware of the environmental crisis is actually now getting a lot of news coming through mainstream media, and they are wondering what the hell is going on. We have this opportunity to talk to them, but it may not always be easy. I was talking to a lady yesterday at the Vegan Luck in the Park, and she was talking about her absolute frustration at actually trying to talk to some people and not being able to basically have them see reason. And she asked for some tips, and that got me thinking about doing this live stream this morning. So one of the tips I shared with her yesterday is the tip that comes from Byron Katie. I said to her, you have to remember there are 3 types of business. There's our business, their business, and God's business. And we can only control our business. We can only control what we say and do and react. We can present a message of compassion to them, but we can't control how they react and respond to it. And if we have expectations of their reaction, and it's not met, and then we become frustrated and angry because it's not met, then we're of very little use in effective communication with someone, because we have basically thrown away the opportunity to be a calm, rational communicator. So that's a very important thing to understand, that the only thing we can control is ourself, our message, and our reaction to other people. We can't control how they perceive the message, how they react to the message, because everyone reacts differently. And the situation now, as we get deeper into the climate crisis, is that it's like people have stumbled upon, the reactions from people are like, imagine you're going about your day and suddenly something happens that's quite unexpected, quite scary, like there's an explosion, there's a car crash, there's a tree falls onto the roof of the house, something like that. In a group of people, I've talked about this before, that singular event will provoke a series of different reactions depending on where the person is at. So some people, when hit with a situation like that, their response is to freeze. It's part of the fight or flight syndrome. And so their response is actually that they are not able to even sort of fathom what's going on, and so they actually freeze. They don't know what to do. Other people are very good at taking charge in that situation. Other people are very good at assessing the situation and helping others. Other people react in ways that seem very strange. Some people will laugh nervously at a situation that is not a pleasant situation. That's their response. That's how they handle it. Other people will actually block it out completely, ignore it, pretend it didn't happen. Are you seeing, when I say this, on a grander scale, are you seeing that these are the reactions of people in two different areas? When I say, blocking it out, that sort of brings up the reactions of people who are conditioned with a certain lifestyle and don't want to know anything outside that, because that's what they identify with. That's their identity. So if they're presented with something that contradicts their identity, it shakes their foundation. So people will block it out. And if that doesn't work, then they will start to criticize, condemn, attack, anything to maintain what they identify with. So getting back to strategies then, this is, it helps to understand the psychology of people's reactions to events that are quite horrific. And the fires in the Amazon are horrific. And the most liked post, or the post with the most reactions and the most shares I've ever had in 6 years on Facebook, came yesterday with over 360, I think we're up to, likes and over 200 shares. And that was the post that said, basically, I haven't got the wording exact as a post, but it said, ignorance is condemning, I'm going to say veganism, because the post said vegetarian and veganism, but I'm just going to say what it should have said. Ignorance is condemning veganism, whilst, was it? Oh, it might have been the other, sorry. Ignorance is being shocked by the fires in Brazil, in the Amazon, whilst condemning veganism. You know what I mean. I've got it one way or the other. You would have seen it's had so many likes and so many shares. Now, I went through the pages of the people that shared it to see the reactions of non-vegans to it. And this is where part of understanding how people react came up. There were so many of the same sort of justifications that people use for not being vegan coming up there. And really, that brings me to one of the strategies that I use I looked at some of these points that people were making. It was very obvious that quite a number of non-vegans were just coming up with excuses to justify their identification with the way they live their life. And I thought, as a strategy, would I use my limited amount of energy and time in debating with that person, or would it be wiser to engage with someone that's showing openness, that wants to know more about what's going on? So my number one strategy as a long-term vegan has been to pick my battles carefully. It's been to basically step back, to observe people even when they're asking questions about my lifestyle, and to not just react or respond straight away, to actually be very hesitant, to be very calculating and in making sure that they have a genuine inquiry. I'm very willing to share information, but if you throw pearls before swine, it's of no use. So we are running a long race, although the race doesn't look that long anymore. We need to conserve our energy for the long race. We need to be wise in who we role model ourselves as ambassadors of compassion, in who we role model ourselves towards. We just don't pick your battles carefully. Just don't go up against anyone who's just in it for an argument, or just in it to justify who they are or the way they live their life. And in my experience of 39 years of being vegan, that's the majority of the population. So it means, the positive of that is, it means that we have a small number of people that we can focus energy on, that we have more chance of reaching their heart and allowing them to make the connection and make the decision that they have the power to do something about the current situation in the Amazon and about the long-term implications that we've been dealing with since forever, basically. The thing is, time is now running out more rapidly every day, and people are now becoming more aware of it, and we have the opportunity to help them make the connection that by living a compassionate life, they can stop contributing to the major influencer of this in the first place. The fires in the Amazon are reported to be 80% more this year than last year, because the new president elected in at the beginning of the year has decided to just give free rein to the cattle farmers, to allow them to just wipe out the bush, the forests, the animals that live in there for their own greed, basically. So it's a very sad situation over there, but just if you can take these tips that I'm saying as a long-term vegan, be aware that we're going to be hassled by friends, family, supposed loved ones, and it's a struggle. We have to be, my philosophy has always been to be firmly rooted in my belief that my compassionate lifestyle is the only thing that I know in my heart is the right thing to do. For me, at 16, going vegan was the biggest wake-up call I ever had. I was talking to a friend about it yesterday, how it was a profound change in my life, and that it was the receiving of information, thanks to Arnold Ehret's book, The Mucusless Diet, that just absolutely took me in a whole new direction, woke me up, shook me, woke me up, and I learnt the value of plant-based foods, sunshine, fasting, spiritual connection, respect for Mother Nature and the earth, respect for our bodies. I learnt all these things in one book that just blew me away, and it completely changed my approach. And it didn't matter who came up to me after that with their trying to get me to doubt that what I'm doing is the right thing. It had no effect on me, because so profound was the shift for me at the age of 16 that there was no going back. So we as ambassadors of compassion need to be firmly rooted in that profound realization that what we are doing is living a life that is the most compassionate for all living beings, and that we can example that to others should they have a genuine inquiry. Should it just be sort of like I was saying earlier with picking your battles, should it be like they just want to hassle because they want to justify where they're at because they can't change, they feel they can't change, then choose your battles wisely. Do you really want to? You have a limited amount of energy, you're running a long race. Do you really want to take a big detour on this race to put out a little, little brush fire, which is an interesting analogy to use in light of the fires in the Amazon. So that's some tips, some strategies from 39 years of encountering people that don't want to listen, that are openly hostile, and this can come from family members and friends and so forth. And it's brought me to where I am today, a person that can be incredibly patient, incredibly tolerant, but also I still can get incredibly frustrated. And so my strategy is to walk away from the battles that I know are a waste of energy fighting, and just have the wisdom, know when is the right time to open our mouths and have the wisdom to communicate with those that are showing the interest to learn. And they are the people that will make the connections themselves, and they are the people that we need as future ambassadors of compassion. So thank you very much. I hope you're able to communicate effectively with your friends and family when they ask the inevitable questions. Remember to live vegan and save lives. And possibly in the middle of the day, I'll have a live stream with my friends in Brazil to talk further about this situation. So thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see if I can get this here. And I'll speak to you soon. Ahimsa.